Let's get this party started. A, B, A, B, C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, like English. Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Let me adjust my microphone without breaking it. I hope that works. Oh, I'm a little too short. There we go. You don't need to see my old grumpy face anyway. Just need to hear what we gotta say. There is a post about the Yellow Medicine Review. This is an old post from last year, or last semester maybe, but it's still accurate. Bug those people because there's an email, there's a website, a web page, whatever you want to say, about the Yellow Medicine Review. This is for those of you who like to write and maybe even do art. You can submit your stuff to those guys because they're always looking for native writers. Keep your eyes peeled for them. They have not yet announced when they're doing their next call for submissions, but bug them anyway and say, hey, when's your next deadline for submissions? Let's see. There is a More Indian Than Thou poem. Should I read it now? I'm going to read it now. Where is it? Oh, I lost it. Nope, there it is. Oh, we got. This is posted on e-learning too, and I believe it is one of those please reply forums. But I'm going to read it out loud. This is by Madsen Rollis, who I believe is a Spokane Indian, because he has a lot of Spokane sentences or phrases in this poem. I believe he wrote it back in the 90s, maybe 94, 95, I don't know. More Indian than thou, Madsen Rollis. Some big old skin stomped up to me and told me I bark up his tree, because as far as he could see, I'm only apple red. Now, normally my lips aren't loose, but stem she I asked that moose. Skleef soot she eaten spoos. And this is what he said. Huh? I could have railed a great deal more, but opted not to be a bore. There's no use grandly groping for the words that get away. Besides, for each that I put down, 900 more louts lays around that I could pick and choose to pound. And here is what I'll say. What reason makes you bare your claws and scratch your urban skin and laws, when you yourself have fatal flaws you cannot disavow? Where do you always place the blame? The victim of your silly game, but you feel proud to stake the claim. More Indian than thou. More Indian than thou you'll blare at powwows, where you'll stiffly stare at anyone with light brown hair who enters in the ring. More Indian than thou you'll snort, 'cause this one has a white consort. Your mighty mental midget's court condemns for anything. You'd think with all the crap we face, the Custers gnawing at our race, and congressmen still on our case, we'd stop and take a stand. With coal and Black Hills gold all mined, the feds will still want treaties signed. The tidal wave is right behind, and you're still kicking sand. It's time we suffer our rebirth. We tribal folk, for what it's worth, are still the stewards of this earth that we're now sleeping on. Or if you yawning simply choose to keep on sucking white man's booze, then you deserve to lose and lose. Ye pun at kan. And with my diatribe complete, I'll walk my talk and proudly greet each quaking, criticizing bleat of what some whiner says. I'll live my words with pen and sage, my culture not within a cage, but 1 foot in the modern age and 1 foot on the res. That's cute. I love it. It sounds almost like a song. Stem shi I believe means what is this? Or stem shi what is that? Stem shi is what is this? Stem shi what's that? Stem shi shu is what is that over there? Skalif sut shi eaten spoos. Skalif means a man or humanity, more particularly Indian man humanity. Skalif sut means the action of being an Indian. Shi'itin Spu'us means first in the heart. So what he's saying here is Indianness is first in the heart. Let me see. I think there's another thing where he says, pun kup atkan. That's sort of like insulting someone and saying you got mush for brains. I forgot. Yeah, pun kup atkan. I forgot which one is brains, but I know that I, yeah. Some kind of mush, or you take moss from the trees, which is edible in some in the Northwest out there. It's kind of a black moss. You take it and you cook it, and it turns into a nice mushy. You can use it as a thickening agent for whatever you're cooking. And he's saying that your brains are like squishy tree moss gravy, if I remember correctly. That's what it sounds like he's saying. How do I know this? Well, it's because I learned Spokane language a long time ago, but I'm forgetting it all. Never mind. So yeah, that one is a poem that I want you to respond to. Also, let me see. Yeah. It says here to remember that Mama Day. This is N. Scott Mama Day. I made a video about him, and I do need to say this again and again. Mama Day shows up in Native literature over and over again, but for some reason he doesn't appear in our textbooks, which is pretty disappointing. Why? Because Mama Day is pretty much the catalyst. He was the one who helped spur what they call the Native American Renaissance. In Scott Momaday, Navarre Scott Momaday, who was born in 1934 in Lawton, Oklahoma. I believe he passed away a couple years back. He was a friend of mine as well. It seems like all my friends, Native authors especially, are kicking the bucket, with exception of Sherman Alexie and who's the other one? Tiffany Midge. They're still around, but man, everybody's aging out. So yeah, I'm counting on you guys to pick up the slack. You know, when we old folks kick the bucket, we need some new writers. All right, I'm fussing too much, but yes, keep in mind that in Scott Momaday did military time, as did a lot of Native American males. That's important. Why? Because we natives have the highest rate of service of all the different so-called ethnic groups in the Americas. This is in Canada and in US, not so much in Mexico and South and Central America, but in Canada and the US, we have the highest rate of service to our countries. However, that's pretty much the only positive. Now, this is some depressing statistics that I have for you now. They come from the U.S. Census Bureau, the Statistics Canada, also from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, the Indian Health Services Service, the Center for Disease Control, University of Colorado, the Canadian Indigenous Peoples Survey, Canadian First Nations Regional Health Survey, and the Canadian Community Well-Being Index. This is where I'm getting all this information I'm getting ready to throw at you. Okay, here we go. Hold on to your socks. Of all the different ethnic groups in the Americas, we natives have the shortest lifespan, the highest suicide rate, the lowest income, the highest poverty rate, the highest obesity, highest blood pressure, highest diabetes rate, and the highest substance abuse rate. I remember when my mother told me this way back when I was growing up, which is pretty much why I'm afraid to be an alcoholic, afraid to drink, go to bars, and people like, oh man, you think you're better than us because you don't want to drink with us. No, it's because I was raised with stuff like this. My mother, who is now retired, she was a teacher as well, and she always used to fuss at us about how, we Indians are screwing ourselves over and to stay away from booze. And also, she warned us that people will slip stuff into your drinks. And so, yeah, I was always too chicken to touch the stuff. Now, why am I getting off on this subject? It's because it's related to some of the stuff that shows up in our literature. Mamade mentions it, Silko mentions it, a bunch of our famous writers up here. I can go up here and just grab any book off the shelf and start reading about this stuff. It's depressing. And again, showing up in our literature, sometimes there's mentions of healing and ways to heal. So, yeah, keep that in mind when you read our literature. What else do I have? 315 days till Christmas and miscellaneous. I think I got everything covered. So, I'm going to knock it off. I already spoke for 23 minutes and 5 seconds. Thank you so much for your time and have a nice rest of the day. Talk to you later.